Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So I wanted to talk about the differences between a short-term rental and a long-term rental. Now, you may say, oh, well, it's obvious that a short-term rental is when a person stays less than a year, and a long-term rental is when they stay a year or more. That is true. However, both do not attract the same kinds of people. And because they don't attract the same kinds of people, there are different things that each group is looking for. This is what I'm finding in my particular market, which is New York City, that I'm seeing. Okay, first of all, there is a decor discrepancy. When you have an Airbnb or a short-term rental, you pretty much can decorate that yourself. You really don't need to hire anybody. You also really don't need to spend a whole lot of money in putting good quality furniture, because my fear was if I put something too good, because it was my money that spent it, the people who rented it probably would not take good care of it, right? So I basically waited until the end of the year and found all kinds of sales that were going on and picked furniture pieces from that particular sale. I also went to different discount stores, thrift stores, what have you, and that's how I decorated the apartment. I personally think that it came out pretty nicely. Okay, I didn't decorate it so that I personally would live there. I just decorated it according to what that particular group wanted. And the group that I targeted was nurses, because I'm surrounded by hospitals and nursing schools. Okay. Plus, there's also several colleges here. There's also a podiatry school. So because of all of this, I'm like, okay, apparently this is my target market. Let me find out what it is that they like in an apartment and try and accommodate them as much as I possibly can. Now, the other thing too that I noticed is that with many who are into short-term rental, many of these travel nurses and what have you, they prefer having a washing machine and dryer as well as a dishwasher inside of the unit. They don't care too much for taking their clothes outside and having to use a laundry. Or what some of them also will do, are open to, is if there's a laundry inside of the building. Because sometimes in New York, most buildings don't have a washer and dryer in the unit, but they will have a washer and dryer in the building. So one just has to take the elevator downstairs or just walk down a flight of stairs or two and do their laundry. Okay. Because, with New York, most of our buildings are old and they cannot accommodate that kind of feature. So that's one of the reasons why many people find that they have to compromise. And then even still, some people are outrageous in that they actually expect an apartment in New York for a low amount of money that has all of these unique amenities. And it's like, no, you're not going to find that. You're going to have problems. So, there that's one of the things that I've noticed with those in the short-term rental market. I also notice there is in New York, because we have cold winters, even though this winter really wasn't that cold, to be honest with you, and we have rather warm summers, most people tend to flood our market, tend to want to come in New York in late spring, summer, and then stay, let's say, the beginning of winter. This is when you normally get, let's say, 8 people who are chomping at the bit to try and rent your apartment, right? No matter what it looks like. Okay, that's just how it goes in New York. And it really is that way across the board. But with the short-term rental market, oh, in New York City, yes, it's extremely that way. The rest of New York may not necessarily be the same. For example, when it comes to Albany, even though Albany is colder than New York City, Albany has special events. And then they don't have enough hotels to accommodate the number of people who actually go to that city for those particular events. And some of those events are in the winter. So they may experience an uptick during certain time periods that the rest of the state may not. Okay, so those are certain things to keep in mind. That's why they say it's important to know your market. But unfortunately, with a lot of misinformation out here, uh, sometimes you don't know it until you actually get into it, right? Because there is a lot of misinformation regarding Airbnb and short-term rentals that I see and that I hear on various social media platforms. All right. Some people say, oh, I don't agree with the people who say, oh, it's a hoax, or, you shouldn't get into Airbnb. No. Sir, if you live in a certain area where the rules for Airbnb is acceptable, and where there's a good market for it, then yeah, I say go for it. Okay. And also, if you are of a particular personality, then I say go for it. Otherwise, yeah, leave it alone. But I don't discredit it or discard it 100% like a lot of other people are doing. Next, now I'm gonna move on. The next issue is with the decor. If you're gonna have somebody who's gonna live there long term in a furnished rental, you're going to have higher quality furniture. And it actually is probably best that you hire an interior decorator to decorate your property. Here's the thing. Most of the people, not all, but many of the people who are looking for furnished apartments in New York City that I'm finding, these are people who are from another country and who did not want to bring their furniture all the way from wherever they're from over to New York. It's just a little bit too cumbersome. Yet they may have a job or acquired a job that requires them to work immediately, right? So because of this, they are a little bit more particular. They're like, if I'm going to be paying a lot of money and I'm going to be staying here for a long period of time, this house must meet my taste. Okay? So that's why you want to look into either an interior decorator, or you may want to dial back a little bit as far as how much you decorate. For example, Some people want a furnished property, but they want to use their own mattress. They don't want another mattress on that bed. So you can buy a bed with the bed frame and everything, but you cannot, you can buy a mattress, but it's probably preferable that you don't, because what's going to happen is if you don't have a place to store that extra mattress that you bought, then you will have to put it in storage. And that goes for anything else as well, such as your tables and what have you. You want to probably, it may be best to sort of dial it back to the bare minimum, meaning TV in the living room, TV maybe in the bedroom, a couch, right? Because they can always cover the couch. And then, the bed frame, as I mentioned before, those type of things will stay in. But let's say towels you would have for your short-term rental guests. But when you have a long-term rental guest, they want to bring their own washcloths, their own towels, their own mouthwash, toothpaste, personal items such as those. So you're going to have to remove all of that from the property once you get somebody who is into your property, is going to be there for a very long period of time. Okay, so this is something that I'm noticing as being different. Other people, other things to note this as well is that you do have insurance companies who do place people in apartments, right? Temporarily. But sometimes those people, even though they'll take a temporary lease until they can get back on their feet, you might end up liking those people. So if they treat the apartment well and they pay on time, those people can turn into your permanent tenants. Okay, so that's why you want to just ease back on the decor, on how you would decorate, because everybody does not have the same taste as you. What you think is marvelous and out of this world and unique and beautiful, someone else might think that that's too frou-frou or too frivolous or too, it just doesn't meet them. There are people who like modern, classic, sleek lines. And then you have other people who are maybe a little bit more classical. They may like Baroque furniture, Louis furniture, French furniture. These people don't like the same things. And they don't appreciate the taste of someone else. So that's why I wanted to make this video, so that we can distinguish between the short-term guests and the long-term guests. Okay? Also, with the long-term guests, for a furnished rental, sometimes they will pay the realtor their fee, but sometimes if they already have a realtor, and let's say that realtor reached out to the one that you're using, in order to attract more, you may want to pay half of the realtor fee or pay the full amount of the realtor fee just to get them into the apartment if they seem to be an ideal tenant. And this is what differs between a furnished, full-time, full length, full year rental, and an empty, unfurnished full-time rental. Because if it's unfurnished, then no, I would not say pay their realtor fees, or offer to pay half. In that sense, and in that case, you want them to pay everything up front. But if it's furnished, because remember, furnished apartments are normally, not always, but they're normally more expensive than an unfurnished apartment. The only time really that an unfurnished is more than a furnished is, number one, the location, the neighborhood. If it's in a particular neighborhood, it's going to cost more than a furnished in a neighborhood that's not so quote unquote affluent, or really not one that is not close to businesses, right? So in those areas, the unfurnished will be more expensive. And then the other thing that will make an unfurnished more expensive, particularly in New York City, is if it has a washer and dryer and dishwasher in the unit. Okay, you do have like more of the modern brand new buildings, they are putting those type of items in the property. But again, most of those buildings, most of those brand new buildings that you see those items in, those are normally way downtown in the business districts where one can literally walk to work if they work in, let's say, finance, or if they work in a law firm. So it'll be midtown or downtown. Okay, but when it comes to any of the other neighborhoods of New York City, if it's brand new, it may not have those items inside of the unit. They may put them, the washer and dryer, the laundry, they may put them inside of the building, but not inside of the unit. Okay, so guys, that's all I have for you. Feel free to share this with your friends. Remember, each one, reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.